Broccoli Yahweh, Broccoli Yahweh Shai, Broccoli Yahweh, Broccoli Yahweh Shai, Kohola Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Hakadash, double honest apostle, elder, great Milson, told me this truth, the rule well. Citations to the Yakim out there pushing the truth in all sincerity and wishing not to do so. Citations to the hopeful elect that believe in the truth, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, that is scattered among the four corners of the earth, Shalom. This is a video that the brother Amawad Ibad did, going into this woman by the name of I think her name is Dana. Let me see. He has it in Dana Ashley, and in this video, she talks about how Esau Edom, the so-called white man, they were actually slaves, and which is true. All nations had a little stint in slavery at a time, but none to the extent of that was done unto the nation of Israel. And that's what the brother Amwad Abad goes into in this video, and he cuts her deep, but as Esau Edom knows, it's like as Esau Edom, he's known for stealing people's identity. He's an identity thief. And a lot of what she goes into about the time of going into slavery is actually talking about Israelites, you so-called Latinos, Native Americans, and Negroes, so she doesn't understand her history. But being the devil that they are, they want to deceive the masses, because they know this truth is out there, and they know that the true people of the Lord, all you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and now they feel some type of way. So they want to throw out there that not only were you guys slaves in America, but we were slaves in this country too, and not only in America, but throughout the world. But the truth of the matter is, those whites that were slaves, in this what they call America, they were actually indentured servants, but she doesn't explain that, of course, because Esau Edom suffers from cognitive dissonance. They always try to justify what the wrongdoings. They when you point out that they're the wicked of the earth, they always try to give some justification for the evils that they done. They never want to be held accountable for their actions. And this is what this woman's she's going into. So she's like saying that we're being played against each other, like this is of them, of the so-called black man and so-called white man are being pitted against each other. And the history buffs, they never bring out the fact that there was white slaves as well. But that's something that Esau Edom himself is ashamed of. In the video, the brother explains, like, she's that your people are in control of the narrative. They're in control of the system that they created. So if that if anybody's hiding it, it's them themselves, because they're ashamed to let the world know that they were slaves. They're so infatuated with themselves in the white supremacy that they don't want to be looked down upon as a people that had ever been at the bottom or had to be in servitude. They always want to be remembered as a people that always were superior to all other nations, and they stand proud upon that. So when you mention that, you were a slave, it's like it's bothersome to them. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be known, or for you to mention that they had to some stint in servitude. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, Esau, Edom, they were created, you know, to be a slave. And, you know, that's what, you know, what I'm going to go into in this video is point out the fact that how the Lord created you to be a servant. You know, he created you to be a slave. You know, you're the bottom of all nations. You're the weakest people on the face of the planet. And, you know, the Lord has created you, you know, to be a servant, you know. And, you know, and the fact of, you know, you hiding your history shows that, you know, you're ashamed of that. And plus, if you bring that to the forefront, you know, that you were slaves, then, you know, it'll show you who you truly were as a people. You know, the only reason that you're on top now and ruling the world is because the Lord has given the hand the world over into you. You know, the Lord has given, you know, the world into the hands of the wicked, and you're that wicked that the Lord has created. You know, the Lord has created you, you know, to be the wicked, you know, and to be the slave, you know. And currently you're in your wicked rulership, and, you know, you're just fulfilling your current role, but, you know, that role is soon to come to an end. But, you know, you're ashamed, you know, of your history, you know, is the reason why this is you being a slave is not known into the world, because that's something that you're trying to hide from the world. And because if it comes out that you were enslaved, you know, it'll match up with biblical prophecy, you know, from the point of you being in servitude until you coming out of your servitude and ruling the world. You know, you'll be pinpointed as the people, you know, who are, you know, the wicked, you know, the devil and Satan, you know. And to hide that, you hid that history. But now, you know, yourself, you feel some type of way. You know, the Lord put the spirit upon you, Dana, Ashley, you know, to go try to dig up this history or whatnot, and prove to the world that, you know, hey, not only were, you know, Negroes and so-called Indians slaves, but, you know, so-called white people were slaves too. And not to say that, you know, that you know, all so-called white people are Edomites, because, you know, there are plenty of people that look like, you know, so-called white men that are Israelites, you know. But I don't want to do too much rambling on, so I want to play some of his video. I'm gonna put his video in the description box, and in his video he has the link to Dana Ashley's video, so you'll be able to go and click on her video and watch it as well. But I'm gonna let some of his video play, and he did a wonderful job of, you know, cutting this devil, you know, to the bone. And, you know, if you're not subscribed to this brother's channel, you know, I highly advise that you subscribe and get edified, because he makes great videos, you know, help edifying the flock of the nation of Israel. This is one of his alternate channels, you know, because, you know, Esau Edom always, you know, deleting channels. So I believe the name of this channel is Faithful Servant of Yahweh. And he also has a channel of his name, Amawad Abad. You can also subscribe to that channel, you know, if you haven't subscribed. But I don't know if that channel's been deleted. But, you know, I'm subscribed to both of his channels, so, you know, I clicked on this video that he created, and, you know, got edified. So I advise you to do the same thing, you know, subscribe to this brother's channel and get edified. But I'm gonna play the video, and then, you know, we'll go into some scriptures about how Esau Edom has been created to be the servant.
Shalom. Kol Halaimla Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakal Kadash. All praises be to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of His Son and our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai. Much respect and honor to the brothers that are doing the work. in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and freedom to do so, and pushing this gospel throughout the four corners of the earth. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered abroad, and double honors and respect to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Coming back at you with another lesson entitled, Shame Shall Cover Thee. Shame Shall Cover Thee. This is a video by Dana Ashley, and she's going into a small fact that some Edomites went into slavery or captivity. I mean, of course, all nations at some point may have had some of their race that were enslaved, but the Israelites suffered the worst and the brunt of this global slavery. Matter of fact, the current global market was built on the stock exchange, which was built on the slavery of the Hebrew Israelites. We know that the stock market originated from the slave market of the so-called Negroes and Native Americans and Latinos. So we're going to let her speak, and then we're going to go into the Bible, because nothing trumps what the Word says, and nothing defeats Bible prophecy. So without further ado, let's let Dana Ashley speak. Let's continue.
As a part of my final yet very large point in all of this, I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that this whole thing, this whole final stage of victim oppressor psyop, it's designed for our destruction, because the entire premise that is created, the current day grievances that you'll see people offering, the asking for reparations.
I want you to find, by the time you leave this autonomous zone, I want you to give $10 to one African American person from this autonomous zone. So find an African American person. The white people, I see you. I see every single one of you. And I remember your faces. You find that African American person and you give them $10. Cash App, Venmo, $10 in your pocket. Do it.
That justifies the whole white guilt, white privilege thing, right? It's all based on a lie. The lie being that the United States was built solely on the backs of black slaves who were solely owned and tortured by whites. Allow me to introduce the other side that you never learned in U.S. history class. For it was not only blacks who suffered greatly under the awful tradition of slavery. There were white slaves, and there were lots of them. I've been studying this hidden truth in depth. I've looked through the work of suppressed historians and documents through multiple books that I've purchased. Many of them, okay? Here's a quote from one of the authors of this book that I bought called White Cargo.
Now, as we began to investigate this, and we used all the kind of resources that investigators do, we look at every kind of book, every kind of official report, etc., diaries, letters, we realised it was an enormous story, and it was also something which refuted one of the great ideas, one of the key ideas of the development of slavery, which is that in 1619 slavery began in America with the arrival of 20 and odd Negroes, as they were called, sold, according to accounts, by a Dutch captain to planters in England. And this was where slavery began. Well, it wasn't true. Slavery had begun earlier. Children and women and convicts had been sold earlier than that. And although a small number of Africans were subsequently brought to Virginia and sold over the next decades, only very few, only 350 years later. Oh, sorry, 20 years later. But meantime, hundreds, thousands of poor whites were being brought in and on various convicts, children, etc., and they were being enslaved.
Well, after hearing that, you might be wondering, well, why haven't I heard about this? Perhaps that's because Hollywood never saw fit to make a multi-million-dollar movie about the topic.
Now, the question you should be asking yourself is, how was this hidden in the history books when Edomites control and write history? They have put their face and stamp on the current educational and religious system that we're all a part of and that we all grew up in. So her people control the narrative. So why would they hide any details of them going into slavery? That absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. Let's continue.
If we as a people even knew etymology better, we would have already figured out that the word slave itself comes from the word Slav, as in Eastern European descent. To be fair, all races at one point or another have suffered from slavery in some way, but white slavery specifically has been a huge reality in the history of the world that even Wikipedia, notorious for being selective about their histories themselves, have been forced to host an entire page on.
Now, this is where we got to stop her. Now, she is correct. The Slavs, Edomites, they were slaves, particularly during the Dark Ages, which is about a 1,000-year history of the Israelites ruling over Europe. Now, but that's not accounting for this 500 or 600, well, actually over 2,000 years of the Israelites being in captivity and bondage throughout the entire world. Well, anyway, matter of fact, let's get a scripture on that. It doesn't compare to the bondage that the Israelites suffered. Let's let the Bible come out so you don't take my word for it. Let's go to Daniel.
All right, so as you can see, she's playing the card of, you know, that pity card. You know what I'm saying? Like Esau did when, you know, he lost his blessing. You know, so you know it's known that the Lord has created you, you know, to be a slave, you know. So when you complain about, you know, oh, you know, the so-called white man, you know, was enslaved, you know, well, that's what you were created for. You know, your whole purpose was to, you know, created to be a servant, you know, to your brother Jacob, you know. And we're going to get that in the scriptures here. You know, and this been the scriptures been coming out a lot, you know, in the videos I've been doing, you know, because, you know, this is, you know, what the Spirit's been bringing out as of late, had me going into as of late. So this is Genesis 25 and 22, which reads, "And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire, it's like she went to inquire of Yahweh. and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were 2 twins in her womb. The first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after came his brother out of his, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Yeah, so it was already you know, predestined for Esau Edom to be a servant to Jacob, you know. And this is what the Lord was explaining to Rebecca, that, you know, there's two different nations in that womb that are struggling in your womb, because, you know, these two nations, they're enemies. And, you know, the elder brother is going to be a servant to the younger brother, you know, showing you that, you know, the Lord was already going to give the blessing of rulership into Jacob before, you know, they you know, before they were giving them birth. You know, it was already predestined that, you know, the nation of Israel was going to rule over, you know, Esau, Edom, and his descendants. So the Lord has created you, you know, to be a slave. You know, the blessing of rulership has been given to Jacob. And we're going to go into that more here. This is Genesis 27:28, which reads, "Therefore the Most High give thee the dew of the heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that cursed thee, and blessed be he that blesses thee." Yeah, so the Lord gave the blessing of rulership into Jacob, you know, and servitude was given into Esau, because the Lord has created you to be a servant. You're the basic of man, you know. You're the weakest man on the face of the earth, but, you know, you're in rulership over all the world right now, which shows you the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, that, you know, they can take the weakest vessel, or the weakest creation that, you know, on the face of the earth of all the nations, you know, to be, you know, in rulership and have his own kingdom, you know, and reign over the whole world. But that's they've been raised up by, you know, through the hands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai to do so. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, their pride won't let them admit to the fact that, you know, they're slaves. You know, they always say that, you know, they've done these things on their own will, but they actually done it through the hands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, you know, because he's given the earth unto them. You know, they're the wicked that the Lord has created, you know, but, you know, he has allowed them, you know, to have a reign in the earth, and, you know, this is their run of them having their kingdom, you know, because the Lord has, you know, gave them their blessing as well. Esau Edom, you know, has his blessing, you know, that he would rule the earth for a period of time. And we're going to go into that. This is Genesis 27:34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, "Bless me, even me also, my father." And he said, "Thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing." And he said, "Is not he rightfully named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing." And he said, "Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me?" So, you know, Esau, you know, he's a liar. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that, you know, that Jacob pretty much, you know, stole his blessing from him, or tricked him out of his blessing, which wasn't so. This devil, you know what I'm saying, gave it up willingly. But see, that's, you know, that's the deceit that he has. You know, he's just a born liar. You know, he gave up his blessing, and now, you know, he's upset about it. You know what I'm saying? So for her, you know, Dana, you know, they're complaining about, you know, being a servant, but, you know, that's what she's been created to be. You know, the Lord has ordained, you know, these Edomites to be servants, you know, and now she's she's crying about, oh well, what about us? We were in slavery too, not just the nation of Israel or you so-called Negroes, and Latinos and Native Americans. Y'all were the only people that had to go through slavery. White people, so-called white people, had to go through it too. So why isn't this mentioned in history that we had to serve in slavery as well? But the reason why is not talked about is because it's something that you guys are ashamed of, and like the brother said in the video, I'm Water Abba. He was like, you guys control the history books. So if it's not out there, it's because y'all don't want it out there. You know what I'm saying? Because this is something that you guys are ashamed of. And plus, if you put it in the history books that you were in servitude, especially for the period of time that you had to, you were down and out, it would point to the fact that you are Esau Edom. And let's get that. How he complained about Jacob actually tricking him out of his birthright when he willingly gave it up himself. You gotta go back to Genesis and let's jump down a little bit. All right, this is Genesis 25 and 29, which reads, and Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage and lentils, and he did eat and drank and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Yeah, so Esau willingly gave up his birthright, but then he cried to his father, saying that he was tricked out of his birthright, but he willingly gave it up. He's like, yo, what good is this birthright is to me if I'm telling you I'm dying and I need something to eat, and if I'm dead, this birthright is not going to benefit me. But the birthright to be given was going to benefit you, because it was going to be given to you and your people for generations, going into your reincarnation, but the Lord had this scenario to where that this would happen, because it was already preordained for that Jacob would get the blessing and you wouldn't, but the Lord had the scenario take place because the Lord loves controversy, and that's why he had the situation be for Jacob to trick Isaac, and with his mother's help, to get the blessing, but that's how the Lord had set it up, because the Lord loves controversy, but it was already predestined. So he just had to create a scenario, and that's the scenario that he created, to show you that the blessing that he was to be given to him from birth, that Jacob was going to receive it, but he just did it in this way of controversy. So now Esau Edom's still complaining about that to this day, and that's why he has this perpetual hatred, because he feels that his blessings were stolen. But when the scriptures clearly showed that he willingly gave up his blessing, in showing you his selfishness. He was like, well, it's not going to benefit me to have this blessing if I'm dead, what I'm saying? So let me eat, what I'm saying? Because he don't give a shit about nobody but themselves. Going to show the same thing about this system, like this system that they created, I'm getting off a little bit off subject, going into voting, what I'm saying? Like this system you created, it wasn't benefit for the nation of Israel, for you to go out and vote for, this devil, shows you that, he's in control, and he only cares about, him and his own. And really, he don't even give a damn about his own people, because he's also enslaved his own people, to get vengeance upon Jacob, So the same system that he created, to benefit him and his people, you know, he also makes his people suffer at the hand to make, you know, the nation of Israel suffer, you know. So that's how wicked this dude is. And that's how much he don't care. You know, that's how selfish he is, to the point to the fact that, you know, he said, fuck it. Well, you know, I'm going to make everybody suffer, you know, just to make, so I can get back at, you know, my brother Jacob, you know. Not only, you know, is Jacob going to suffer, you know, some of my own people going to suffer. But as long as this dude, Jacob, suffering, I'm cool with it, you know. But anyway, back to Genesis 26 and 36. Read it again. And he said, is it not he slacking? And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? So yeah, he's saying that, you know, Jacob stole his blessing, and we know we clearly read that that's not so. He willingly gave it away. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? So Isaac telling him he already gave the blessing unto Jacob, you know. So, you know, but, you know, Esau continues to cry for a blessing. So he's already giving you unto to be a servant unto to his brother. So the Lord has created you pretty much to be a slave, man. You were created to be a slave. So for Dana to talk about, you know, oh, what about white people in slavery? Well, you're just doing what you've been created to do by the Lord himself, you know. The Lord has created you to be a servant, but you're currently living out your blessing, which we're going to get here as we read on. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even also my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of the heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Yeah, and that's why he has this perpetual hatred for us today. You know, but the Lord has, you know, embedded that in his DNA. The Lord has designated your enemy and to be your servant, you know. And you know, going into, you know, the breaking of the yoke of his neck. Yeah, you know, it was a time, you know, in history that, you know, we ruled over Esau, Edom, you know, especially during the times of King David, King Solomon. You know, these Edomites were in servitude until us. They, you know, they were our slaves, and, you know, but throughout time, you know, this blessing had to be fulfilled, that, you know, he would break the iron off his neck. So during the Greek Empire, you know, Esau Edom was able to break that iron off the neck by you know, conquering the world, you know, at the hands of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, the Lord had, you know, given the world into his hands, so he was able to conquer Jacob during his time, and you know, carry out his blessing, which he's currently in, you know. So, but his empire went on to the Roman Empire, and then that empire fell, and then he came back in power, you know, after 1,000 years, you know, which we're gonna get that too. In Revelations. But first, you know, also, you know, the Lord, you know, he hates Esau. You know, Esau, you know, is his enemy, and that's what, you know, the Lord has created him for. You know, he's created him to be a whipping stick. He's created him to be his enemy, and he's created him to be a slave. you know. So this is Malachi 1:4. The burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh have indignation forever. Yeah, so the Lord has a perpetual hatred for Esau Edom, you know, because, you know, he's been created to be the wicked of the world and be against the Lord. And the Lord hates him, you know. He's been created to be the wicked, you know, as well as a servant, you know, unto the nations of Israel. But, you know, getting back into, you know, the power of Yahweh Shem Rashai, he's using this slave, you know, to rule over the world currently, you know, but he's only doing so, you know, at the hands of Yahweh Shem Rashai. But, you know, through his pride, you know what I'm saying, he won't admit into that, you know, because, you know, Esau Edom, they're a prideful people. So this is Revelations 20:2, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bonded him 1,000 years. So let's go into who this devil is, or who's Satan that they talk about in the scriptures, because this is not talking about a spiritual demon Satan. This is talking about a people.
Strong's G 4567, Satanas, Satanas. Thayer's Lexicon, Satan, Satan.
See, biblical uses. Adversary, one opposes another in purpose or act, the name given to. The prince of evil spirits, the virtue, adversary, God and Christ. Let's go all the way. Okay, a Satan-like man. So that just shows you that, you know, Satan is not only a spiritual demon, but he's also a man, and that Satan-like man is Esau Edom. And they also got a, you know, definition here on Hamashiach return from heaven. He will be bound with chains for 1,000 years, but when the 1,000 years are finished, he will walk the earth in yet great power, but shortly after will be given over to eternal punishment. Yeah, which, you know, this pretty much already happened. You know, that, you know, most people think that, you know, in the Lord's return, that, you know, he's going to come, he's going to, you know, save the, you know, have the rapture and then take, you know, the people, and then the people here are going to be suffering, and, you know, the devil just going to run rampant, you know, throughout the earth, and, you know, the Lord is going to be allow, you know, people to repent and, you know, come back into the fold, and, you know, he's going to rescue them and just destroy, you know, Satan, and he's going to go to the bottomless pit of fire and burn for eternity. That's not the case. You know, this is dealing with, you know, Esau Edom, you know, after 1,000 years of being, you know, in servitude pretty much, you know, or being out of rule, not having his kingdom, that he was going to break out and come back into power, and which is, you know, the revival of the Roman Empire, which is currently, you know, the system that we are in today of the, you know, United States and the European Union. You know, these are, you know, these Edomites, you know, these are the same Romans, you know, and you know, the structure is set up pretty much the same way as of old, you know. So those are the same people, you know, for 1,000 years. You know, he was in servitude, you know, around 300 AD to, you know, around 1400. You know, he was out of power, but, you know, around the mid 1400s or whatnot, so he came back into power, you know, and you know, conquered the earth once again, as prophesied. So for you to admit to the fact that that you were previously slaves, you'll be admitting the fact that you are the Edomites, and that's something that they tried to hide. That's why they took the Apocrypha, out of the Bible, because it shows who the descendants of Esau, Edom are in that Greek rulership that that they had. You know what I'm saying? Which the original Grecians were Japhetic, but as Esau Edom does, when he conquers lands, he steals the identity of those people, just like he did the nation of Israel. As Amalek today, the chief tribe of Edom, they stole the identity of the Israelites. Those people that are in the land of Jerusalem today. Those are Amalekites. Edomites that claim to be the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Which they're not. They are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. With the blessing, is not given to the bloodline. It was given into the bloodline of Jacob. But let's read on, and I'll read it again. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him. And he said, deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. Yeah, and this is that little season to where that Esau Edom's been loose. As we read in Genesis 27, to where that he would break the chains off of the neck, or the yoke of iron that was on his neck. He would break it, and come out of his servitude, and he would rule the world. And he did it once again. After being in servitude to King David, he broke out, came up, and started the Greek and Roman empires, and then those empires fell, and the nation of Israel came back into power, and for 1,000 years, that's why they refer to those years as the Dark Ages. When history just for 1,000 years, there's no history. We don't know what happened during those years, but during the Renaissance, when they came back into power, all of a sudden, we have history of what took place during that time, because during that time, they were in power, so they want to collect history of the things that they've done. Being a superior nation, they want to show that they were a nation that never fell. And if they show of them falling, they're going to show them falling to other so-called white nations. They're not going to show them falling to a Negro nation, or a nation of dark people, because that'll take away from their white supremacy, and it'll make them look weak. So they're gonna hide that. So that's why they cover all the artifacts that are in the Eastern world, because Jake ran Europe, and many of the Irish in Ireland, those people were Jakes, and that Esau stole the history too. He stole the history of the Vikings, and a lot of those so-called Edomites, so-called white people that are in Ireland are actually Jake, because Jake ran, ruled in that land for a period of time, and being that we're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, a lot of those Irish men, that that's why a lot of so-called white people refer to the Irish as white niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew that there was a period of time that so Negroes ruled over them, and we mixed amongst those people, and a lot of those, those Irish, are Israelites. It's the same thing with the Italians, and the Sicilians. They were ruled over by Jake. What I'm saying, the Moors, and a lot of those so-called Italians are actually Israelites. They're Jake, but they look like Esau, Edom. So that's why it's truly not it's not a color thing. It's a bloodline thing. So you can look like all these other nations and still be of the nation of Israel, and that's the mixed multitude. Yeah. So these 1,000 years after Esau, Edom, fell out of power. For 1,000 years he was down, and he came back into power, and he's currently in his little season to where he's the rule. In the revival of the Roman Empire, with the European Union and the United States, and all his other allies that he's in power with. But yeah, this is for them to hide the history of their servitude. It benefited them because if you, for those that go in deep into the research, you'll be able to find the fact that these are the people of the Bible. This is because this is lining up with biblical prophecy. How you came into power and then you fell out of power, and then for 1,000 years you were down, and then you were unleashed. It shows you that you are the devil who the Bible speaks of. And to hide that, they got rid of their history. And they just said that, they don't know what happened for those 1,000 years. But the truth of the matter is, the nation of Israel were in rule. And that would pinpoint, to them that, black people, or so-called black people, were in a power seat. And that they don't want that to be so, because they did so much to get rid of the history that they don't want that, to be known, They always want them, the only history that's known, about so-called black people is that, they was in Africa, what I'm saying? And they came over here and they were slaves, what I'm saying? They don't want them to know that they actually ruled the world, not only in those nations, but, the European nations as well, They don't want to admit that, there were, black rulers during that, so-called black rulers during that time, because they that's why they changed the artifacts and deface them and paint over them as prophesied, that they would do these things. They even did those same things, you can read about in Maccabees, how they went into the temple and defaces the faces of the judges, as as stated in Job 9:24. The earth was given to the hands of the wicked, and he covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, who and where is he? Which points out to Esau, Edom. He did those things. So you Google, God, or who they English call Jesus Christ. They're going to be pictures coming up of a so-called white man. You know what I'm saying? Which is blasphemy, because the so-called he's actually if you go by the description that's in the scriptures, referring to Revelations 1:15, it tells you that Yahweh Shai is a so-called black man, but Esau has or made him out to be a so-called white man, which is pretty much blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, because you change the what's in the scriptures. You're going against what the Lord has put in his word to describe his appearance into the world, or to his people. You took it and defaced it and made an image of your own, to deceive the world, proving that you're the devil that the Bible speaks of. And this is 2nd Esdras 6 and 56, 54 and 59, which reads, and after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which also came of Adam, thou hast said they are nothing but like unto spittle, and has and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. Yeah, so the Lord don't give a shit about these other nations, especially Esau, Edom, because the Lord says he hates Esau. You know, the Lord has created you to be a slave, and he gives two shits about you. So you know how Esau likes to, you know, when Jake screams Black Lives Matter, you know, he likes to go out and say, well, not only does Black Lives Matter, white lives matter, you know, and blue lives matter, but truly the only lives that matter are the nation of Israel. So the Lord, you know what I'm saying? The Lord don't give a shit about you other nations, you know, which he explains that here, that, you know, the only lives that matter to the Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is the lives of the nation of Israel. You know, you so-called Latinos, Native Americans, and Negroes, you're the only people that matter in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Esau, Edom, and these other heathen nations don't matter unto him. The Lord hates Esau, you know. He's creating him to be the wicked, and he's created him, he said, like the scriptures say, you know, he created the wicked for the day of evil, you know, which is, you know, the Lord has created Esau, Edom, you know, to destroy, you know, pretty much. He's the you know, the unrighteous vessel that the Lord has deemed to destroy, you know. Reading on, and know, O Lord, behold, this heathen which have ever been reputed as nothing have begun to be lords over us and devour us. Yeah, and Esau, Edom came into power and became lords over us and devour us, you know, even until this day, man. But the Lord has created this place for the nation of Israel. All this world and everything that's created upon it was created for the nation of Israel, you know. And Esau, Edom, he hates that. You know, you've been created to be a slave, and the Lord hates you, man. Reading on, but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world had now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Yeah. So the Lord has created, you know, the world for our sakes, man. You know, and that's why he's coming back, you know, to redeem the nation of Israel. You know, he's going to take this devil out of his power seat. But first, you know, the certain prophecies that got to be fulfilled, like, the, you know, the RFID microchip and, you know, World War III. And we're on the brink of that. You know, we're at the brinks of, you know, them force implementing their mark of the beast, RFID microchip, and then, you know, right after that, you know, World War III, and we're out of here, and we in those days, and we're gonna live to see it, you know. And Lord willing, you know, we are the elect that's gonna be being about here during these troublesome times to come, you know. This is Isaiah 40:15. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing, and Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beasts thereof sufficient for a burnt offering. And when you talk about Lebanon, you're talking about Esau, Edom, you know. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. Because you gotta remember the scriptures are manifold, you know. So the reference of Lebanon is pointing out Esau, Edom, because, you know, he can't sacrifice to the Lord because the Lord didn't give him law, statute, and commandments, you know, to abide by. So his sacrifice are meaningless, and the Lord sees you as nothing because, you know, he doesn't have a relationship with you like he has with the nation of Israel, because the nation of Israel he has chosen to be his people, you know, and you've been a vessel that has been chosen to be the dishonorable vessel that he's going to destroy in the day of evil. This is Isaiah 14:1, which reads, "For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and yet shall choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave into the house of Jacob." And those strangers are Israelite foreigners. "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for his servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." Yeah, so Esau, Edom, you got to get ready to go back into servitude, because you oppressed us and took us captives, and you're next in line to go into captivity. As you have done unto us, it will be done unto you double. So you've been created to be a slave, and you're going back into servitude, because that's what your purpose that the Lord has intended for you to be. Let's even get Amos 9. This is Amos 9:11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen which are called by my name, save Yahweh that does this. Yeah, so the Lord is giving you as a possession. You know what I'm saying? You've been deemed to be a servant. So you crying that so-called white people has been in slavery, which is true. You have been in slavery, but I mean not to the extent the things that have been done unto you as in these other nations and during your time of slavery is not to the extent that has been done into the nation of Israel. You so-called Latinos, Native Americans, and Negroes. The things that have been done to us in our captivities has never been done into you. No one has faced the afflictions that we have faced as a nation. You know what I'm saying? No other nation has faced that same affliction as a nation of Israel. But the Lord has punished us, because he has chosen us, and he wanted us to to feel the hurt for our disobedience unto him, because the Lord is disappointed in the things we have done, so he punished us harshly for our wickedness, because the Lord has created us to be a righteous nation, but we went off, so we had to pay for it. So if we had to pay, you're going to pay. And we're the apple of his eye. So imagine what what you got to have to face for your wickedness. He created you to be the wicked, granted, but still the things that you've done, you still got to pay for. You're not just going to skate off and get away with all the wickedness that you've done throughout the earth. Even though that's what you were created to be, you still got to pay for all that shit that you did, and your time is running out. We're at that point. So what the Lord is going to require of it. And this is Revelations 13:9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faints of the saints. So yeah, Esau, Edom, at the end of the day, truly, for all the wickedness you've done, you've taken the nation of Israel into captivity. Your captivity is on the way in. That's, as the scriptures say, Esau, Edom is the end of this world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So this is the end of your kingdom, and you got servitude, to look forward to, and then after your 1,000 years of servitude, you're going to be destroyed as a people. Of all the nations, you're the only nations that's going to be destroyed after servitude, because all these nations are going to be subject to servitude unto the nation of Israel, because as the scriptures say, all things that were created for the nation of Israel, and this world was created unto us, as we read in Esdras. So, that means, the people that are within the world, you also been created to be in subjection into the nation of Israel, because all things were created for our sakes. And, so for Dana Ashley, for this to say that, or to complain about, the so-called white man being slaves or whatnot, or having to serve in slavery. Yeah, they did. But your harshest slavery is to come, man. You're going to have the worst slavery of all slaveries ever you can imagine, for all the wickedness you had done for the nation of Israel in their captivity, as you did unto them in this land, man. You're going to have to pay double, as the scriptures say. You know, you're gonna dash your infants' heads, as it says in Psalms. You know, happy he should be that dashes, you know, the head. You know, just paraphrasing, but you know, what I'm saying, going into that scripture, that you're gonna have hell to pay, man. You as a nation of people, you're gonna have the most horrific captivity, known to man, soon to come, because of all the shit that you've done, throughout the world, and your wickedness and all the evils that you've done into the nation of Israel. You're gonna have to pay for it, and that time is quickly, coming into play, and your kingdom is slowly burning, but it's gonna hasten pretty soon, because the Lord is ready to wrap this thing up, and we almost out of here. So like I said, I'm gonna put this the brother Amawad Abad's video in the description box. You can go back and watch his video. It's very edifying. So definitely take a look at it. And if you want, once you look at his video, you can go into his description box and click the link to Dana Ashley's video. But I do highly recommend that you take a look at the brother's video. As I said, he makes very edifying videos. So that's pretty much it. This will say, Kohlo Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Kwame Asherala, Abba Shalom.